Alright, in this video, I'm going to be sitting down and breaking down the best business model to get into in real estate this year in 2025, a business that you can start, a business that I was able to start with my brother about 3 years ago, and explain to you everything that we've done since then, and how you can get into this industry today, and why it's better than flipping houses, why it's better than Airbnb arbitrage, why it's better than short-term rentals, all these other different ways in real estate that you've heard all these different business models and heard for the last 5, 10, 15 years. And this is a extremely old industry that, again, everybody's heard the saying that 90% of millionaires are made through real estate, but you can't do it through the old ages and the old forms and old ways that you used to be able to do this. You're not going to get a house that's worth $50,000 and then, 10, 20 years later, now it's worth $5 million. We don't have the same opportunity that our parents did in that aspect, or our grandparents, but we do have a different opportunity that makes it a lot simpler and that you can make a lot more quick cash flow and profit a lot quicker and actually build a real business rather than just relying on the times and the values of these properties to go up over time, right? So you're not going to be buying short-term rentals. A, you need a ton of capital to get into that. And B, again, the property values aren't raising like that like they used to with inflation and stuff like that. But the big argument that people have all the time is they think that flipping houses is more lucrative than flipping land. So for backstory, just to tell you guys a little bit that I know what I'm talking about here, what my brother and I built is something that is worth explaining, that we know what we're doing in real estate. So my brother and I started our land flipping business a little over 2.5 years ago. It was July 1st of 2022. It is now April of 2025. So it's been almost 3 years now. Since we started on July 1st, we have flipped over 600 properties. We've made about $4 million in profit with our land flipping business. We're doing well over 7 figures a year now with our land business, and we have over $10 million in active development. And we have taught countless other people to start their own business and get into this industry as well. So we have done tons and tons of land transactions, and that is with a small team. So that's step one, or the first reason that I would say it's a lot easier to do land transactions than houses, is I've never seen anybody run a flipping business that didn't have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 employees that is able to handle the amount of transactions that just my brother and I were able to handle. And again, we started this business off in college. We weren't working full-time out of an office. We weren't working 12 hours a day. And we were able to do 37 transactions in 1 month alone. That's over a deal every single day, including weekends. What other industry, what other business model can you do that in? Again, we're profiting, our average profit in this is over $8,000. So being able to do a real estate deal every single day is unheard of, but again, because the new technologies, because of how we do things, where we're mass outreaching to people, it's something that's possible in today's day and age. So that's one thing, is when people are flipping houses, they're happy to do, 1 or 2 deals per month. And sure, that's great, right? If, let's say your average profit is $20,000 per deal. You have $40,000 lined up, but not everything goes to plan every single time on every single deal. There's things that go wrong. There's title issues. There's sellers that don't want to sign. There's a bunch of different issues that can go wrong, and especially with a house, which I'll get into more shortly. But if you have 2 deals lined up for the month, right, and you plan on making $38,000 in profit, and with houses, marketing is more expensive when you're paying for these leads. So your average marketing cost when you're marketing for houses is typically about, $10,000 to $15,000 per month. So let's say you have $38,000 lined up in that month, right? And it's just off 2 deals. Let's say those 2 deals fall through, right? You lose all that $38,000 in revenue. Now you're in the red. Now you can't pay the rent. Now you can't pay your expenses off. Now let's say you have virtual assistants. You can't pay them, right? Because you're negative for that month because those 2 deals fell through. But on the other hand, with land, you can easily line up 10, 15, 20 deals throughout the month. And I know that if I line up 20 deals, 20 land deals throughout the month, even though my average profit is down to $5,000, which I'll get into as well, but the average profit is not lower on these deals because we're dealing with the same value of land that we are of houses, because when these people are flipping houses, they're not flipping $500,000 houses, right? Typically they're flipping these crappy, not as nice houses that are only worth about $100,000. Our average lot that we're dealing with is about $100,000 to $150,000. So we're still going to make the same margin, if not more. I'll explain to you some bigger deals that we've done, but you're not making smaller deals with land. But let's say we just lined up 20 deals in this month at an average spread of $5,000, right? Just to be safe, that's lower than our average spread. Our average spread is about $8,200, like I said. So you have $100,000 in revenue lined up for that month. And the marketing cost, you're typically, to get about $100,000 in profit, you're only going to have to spend about $4,000 to $5,000 in marketing. So the marketing cost is already a third of the price, dealing with land compared to dealing with houses. And if 2 deals fall through, let's say even 3 deals fall through from those 20 that you lined up, right? Which is unheard of. Typically, I would say we have 1 deal fall through for about every 30 deals that we line up, right? So let's say 2 deals fall through at $10,000. Your $100,000 in revenue now goes down to $90,000. Okay, who cares, right? You're still able to pay the rent. You're still able to pay off your marketing costs. You're still able to pay for your VAs if you have, which you don't even need with land. And not only that, you're able to reinvest in your business and reinvest into marketing because you have $90,000 in profit left over from the month. And why it's possible to do this amount of deals with land is because there are so many builders buying these properties, and not only that, they will buy multiple from you at a time. We have had times where a builder bought a 9-pack from us, a 27-pack from us, and what I mean by that is a 9 package of lots. They buy 9 lots from us at the same time. It's basically one transaction for me, but it's 9 properties. I'm making 9 times as much as I typically would off one deal. 27-pack meaning 27 properties in a package of one closing that I have to deal with, but I'm making 27 times as much off one deal because these builders are purchasing thousands of properties per year, and they need to buy them from people like us because they're not getting good deals off the market. The reason they buy them from us is because we go off market and do the work for them. They don't want to spend this time finding these properties. So what we're specifically doing with our approach to flipping land, which not a lot of people do, most people deal with rural, larger acreage parcels. We're dealing with infill, buildable parcels that we're selling to builders. So that's where this market is. This market is huge. There's over 30 million vacant lots throughout the entire country. In Florida alone, I believe there's over 10,000 builders. There's thousands of builders throughout the country, thousands of builders in Florida, thousands of builders in Tennessee, thousands of builders in North Carolina. All these hot growing markets and states, there are thousands of people to buy these properties. And like I said, some of these smaller regional builders will only buy, 2 to 5 lots a year, and we deal with them as well. They buy properties from us all the time. But a lot of these bigger builders, LGI Homes, DR Horton, there are tons of builders that we've worked with that are buying thousands and thousands of lots per year, hundreds per month, and they're doing it every single month, every single year, whether the market is up, whether the market is down. They have these scattered lot campaigns to where they're always buying these properties. So if you get a property under contract, it is the easiest part to sell these deals because these builders need to buy these lots and they're going to buy them regardless. So that's how you can line up 10, 15, 20 deals per month and line them up pretty easily and just be working with a consistent builder that's buying these lots from you. Because they're always building these houses, they make all their money on the build, right? They're not worried about saving an extra $5,000, $10,000 on the acquisition. If you can help make it convenient for them, they're happy to pay you out that assignment fee and pay you that finder's fee of, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. We've had assignment fees upwards of over $200,000 directly to us, which I'll get into with the median value of property that you're dealing with. But that's why these builders will buy from you, and that's why they don't care to pay you out. Another question we get all the time is, why don't these builders cut you out? A, because of contractually how we line up the deal with our 2 contracts, it's impossible for them to cut us out. But again, you're still giving it to them below market value. They're getting a good deal. They had to get these properties regardless, but you're bringing it to them, and in return, they'll pay you out $10,000, and they'll do it as many times as you can bring them properties that they can build on, right? Because on the back end, they're building these houses for cost, and they're making over 6 figures profit per deal. They're making $150,000 per house. They don't care to save that $5,000 or $10,000 on the front end because they're making so much on the back. So if you can bring that to them and bring them convenience and bring them lots that already have fill dirt in and already cleared and stuff that they're looking for, don't have wildlife on them, they're happy to get this done, and they're happy to work with you over and over again, especially when you learn how to do this the right way. So these builders are always buying. And then another thing that people think is you can't make as big of a margin, you can't make as much profit when you're dealing with a lot compared to dealing with a house. That's completely wrong. I mean, there are tons of people in this industry that I've seen talk about how they make bigger spreads in houses than we do with land, and I'm yet to see somebody bring a larger deal than we've been able to do. We've been able to do 9 deals over $100,000 in profit. We've done a $90,000 deal. We've done an $80,000 deal. We've done a $161,000 deal, a $190,000 deal. We've done a $200,000 deal, a $210,000 deal. And these are all profit net to us, paid out to us, wired at the closing date. And the reason being is, like I said in the beginning, most of these people that are flipping houses, they're just dealing with $80, $90, $100,000 not very nice houses in not nice neighborhoods, and then they're selling it to a flipper that's just going to fix it up. They're lowballing the owner. They're trying to just flip it to them for anything they can get. They make $10,000, $15,000 in between. You're dealing with a $100,000 property, right? On those big spreads that I'm talking about, we're dealing with $1 million property. Okay, we're only making 20% like we are in the cheaper lots a lot of the time, but this 20% now means $200,000. So there's no reason why you're hitting smaller spreads when you're dealing with land compared to dealing with houses, because you can just raise the value of the property that you're dealing with. And there are still developers that are building on the water, that are building in the hills, that are building on these nice properties that'll pay you $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million for the lot, and it's the same process, you're just adding a few zeros. So you can still be making $100,000, $200,000, $50,000 per deal. We've done it countless times, and it's extremely possible to do that with this. And that's just one of the other things that I see with people. And then another thing is, compared to dealing with houses, is you have to deal with inspections. You have to deal with going out to the property. You have realtors out to the property, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent. You have to coordinate showings with people living in the property at the time, right? There are so many things that can go wrong. Inspections that have to get done on the home. You're trying to deal with the seller, keep them under contract while you have an inspection period, and you're having to coordinate the buyer's agent going out with the potential buyer, with the tenant in the house, make sure they're getting out, make sure they put the keys in the lockbox. How many things can go wrong in this issue? And I'm over here in my laptop in Arizona dealing with this property over in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and all of a sudden it falls through because of all these different counterparts. And then again, like I said, you're in the red because this one deal you were going to make $30,000 on just fell through. Now you made zero. Now you're negative $10,000 because you have marketing. With what we're doing with land, there's no inspections. The builder likely just bought one down the street, if not two. He knows exactly where that property is located and if there's going to be wildlife or anything on there. It's just a flat, vacant lot. There's nothing else to look into. I'm over here in Arizona, flipping lots over in Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, Colorado. I've never seen these properties. I've never been out to them. I don't have realtors going to look at them. I don't have builders that are worried about it because they know exactly what lots they're looking for. They know exactly the types of lots they can build on. And I just flip it to them. They close in 2 to 3 weeks, and it's done. There's no inspection periods. There's nothing you have to worry about. You're in and out of these deals. So compared to flipping houses, so flipping land compared to flipping houses, all the time I see people say, hey, I just got 10 deals. I just got 10 house contracts signed. And then they don't sell any of them. They waste their next 2 weeks because they think they got deals trying to sell these properties. When you lock up a land deal, we're selling almost every single contract that we get signed. We only have to terminate probably one out of every, 60, 70 contracts that get sent out because an issue pops up that we weren't expecting. But with houses, people are canceling over 50% of their house contracts right now, and they have no idea who to sell them to. The whole business model behind flipping houses, and this is where my brother actually built this business model off of, is he saw the industry of house flipping, and he said, hey, this is a good cash flow idea of how people are wholesaling these contracts. This makes a lot of sense. You get a contract for a property that you don't own, you're able to assign that contract, you help them get quick cash, you help the buyer get a property, you get paid out the difference in between. This is a great business model, this is a great idea, this is a good way to make cash flow. So basically the idea with flipping houses is you're lowballing an old lady that's owned this property for 40, 50, 60 years, had it in her family. It's not a very nice house. It's worth maybe $80,000, $90,000. You offer these people $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. You're lowballing them. You're offering them pennies on the dollar for their property. 20, 30 cents on the dollar, offering these people $20,000, which is ripping them off. It's unfair. It's not a real business. You get that under contract, and then every 45 days you finally get one of them to say yes, and then you go ahead and sell it to an investor or a flipper that's going to fix it up a little bit and sell the property for $80,000, $100,000. They offer you $40,000. You make $10,000 in between. That's not a scalable business. You're not bringing value to anybody. You're not really helping anybody out. So my brother saw this idea, and he's like, oh, wow, that's a great idea to flip the contract, right? But that's not a business that's able to be scaled, that you're able to put employees in place, that you're able to scale and really turn this into a real business and not have it be a side hustle like flipping houses is, because you can really bring value when you're flipping land. So our pitch and where we're adding value here when we're flipping land is we're reverse engineering it. So we already have these buyers and these builders that are going to buy these properties from us that say, hey, I'm looking for anything in this 33930 zip code and I'll pay you $50,000, right? So we already know our buyers there at $50,000. They told us this. They say they'll pay that for any of these specific lots. We then reverse engineer that, reach out to the sellers, and this is our pitch. Hey, I specialize in land. I work with all these different builders throughout Florida. You're going to save the realtor fees when working with me, which is typically 8 to 10% on land. Anybody that's dealing with these cheap properties, you're not going to be able to list these properties with a good realtor because no good realtor is going to want to list a $50,000 property for a $1,500 commission. Normally they're going to charge 8, 10%, even sometimes more on these properties because they'd rather be selling a $5-10 million house and making huge commissions and making big money rather than wanting to deal with a $10, $20, $50,000 lot, right? So you're not going to get a good agent to list it. The realtor probably doesn't know what it's worth. They're going to list it and it's going to sit on the market for a year. Then you're going to get an offer that's lower than ask. You're going to have to pay out realtor fees of like 10%, pay out closing costs of about $2,000. When working with me, you don't have to deal with any of that. The builder covers the closing costs. There's no realtor fees. I tell the seller, hey, I'll give you $40,000. You avoid the realtor fees, you avoid the closing costs, and we get this done in 30 days. They're happy because that's better than any other offer they're going to get on the market. We're bringing value because we're putting these builders and connecting them with the seller. So we tell them, hey, I'll give you $40,000. We tell the builder, hey, everything else on the market's at $50,000. I'll give it to you for $48,000. They say, oh, awesome, Carson, that sounds great. Let's do it. Get them under contract. You get the seller under contract. You just made $8,000. And the reason why we're bringing value, again, they avoid the realtor fees of 10%. Boom, there's $4,500. Closing costs of $2,000. Boom, there's another $2,000. So that's already saving the seller almost $7,000, and we're speeding up the process and getting it done in 30 days compared to a year. That's why they're happy to work with us. That's why we've done 600 deals. We're not ripping anybody off like people are typically doing with flipping houses. We're not lowballing anybody here. We're giving a fair price, and then we're making our margin in between because we're connecting the builder with the seller. So that's where we saw the business model. That's why we jumped into this. And again, because you already have the buyer and the builder beforehand. This is a huge part, is you don't have to worry about half the battle. You just have to get these properties locked up and under contract. That's why we've been able to do 3, 4, 5. We've done like 6 or 7 deals in one day before, because it's so easy when you already know what they're going to get on the buying side. Is we literally send out a text campaign. Hey, I'll give you $40,000 for this lot. We've had 5, 6, 7 people say yes, get the contract signed in one day, and literally flip those directly to a builder and make about $50,000. It is that possible in today's day and age with AI technology and these softwares that are out that, again, was never possible. So you combine all these technologies that are out there today with this business that's been around forever, one of the most lucrative forms of business ever. These transactions are happening every single day. There's thousands of transactions between land that are happening every single week. You just need to get in between them and then figure out how to get the contracts done, which is what we teach and what we've shown people how to do. And then you can be making $5, $10, $15, $20, $50,000 per deal. And again, once you understand how to do this correctly, you can be doing it every single day. So that's why we've always stuck with land. We've flipped houses, but again, all those different headaches and things that I've told you have to deal with, you don't want to be dealing with that. So we've always just stuck to what worked. We've always stuck to land, and it's been so much simpler and so much less of a headache because, again, you don't have to be at these properties. We're completely from our laptops. We have flipped properties while we were out in Dubai. We flipped properties while we were out in Tulum, Mexico. We flipped properties while we were over in Florida, Arizona, in Vegas, and living in all these different places because, again, we're doing it completely from our laptop. All we're doing is sending texts, doing a couple phone calls, and sending emails. You can do it completely on your own time. You're not working for anybody else, and you can do it anywhere in the world. You can do it while you're on vacation. You can do it while you're with your family. You can do it literally anywhere, which is why I love this business model, which is why I think, again, it's never been a better time to get into this industry because nobody really knows about this yet. It's so niche. Everybody thinks that land flipping, you have to get your hands dirty. You have to do all these things. You have to go to the properties. You have to do all these different things to flip dirt. I'm telling you that you don't. You can send a few text messages, make $10,000, $20,000, and move on to the next deal. That's what we figured out how to do here. So if you made it this far in the video, first of all, I appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we're going to be posting on this weekly with new videos like this explaining into our business model, into land flipping, and just kind of stuff within our life. And if you are interested in getting into flipping land, we are teaching people how to do this. So we're partnering directly with our students on deals right now. We're doing more development. We're building more houses. So we want to buy our deals directly from our students. So we're now teaching people how to get into this. If you're interested in getting into this, there's a few different things you can do. First of all, in the description, there's a free training. You can see there's a link down below that you can click to get access to. It's a free training diving into the ins and outs of how to get into the beginning of this industry, how to start out land flipping and get your first deal. So you can go ahead, click down below to watch the free training, or you can DM one of the Instagrams, either Wiener Bros, WIENERBROS, or Carson Buys Land. So you can DM one of those two pages. We can talk about how we can get you your first deal, or go ahead and watch the free training. That's the easiest first step. And then we can talk about what it looks like to get started and start partnering together on deals. But again, if you watch this video, I appreciate you sitting here and watching it with me. And yeah,